Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children 18 plus. You are tuned in to the Lone Officer Podcast with me, Dustin Owen, and my main man,
JC.
John Coleman.
What is poppin',
I can tell you are still not comfortable having a third camera in here.
I am, because now I know I can just never cut to myself, but then that would defeat the purpose. I will when I have like a good
John,
haircut.
was the purpose of us getting a third camera so we could get more eyes on you?
Maybe low key.
Maybe low
This
key.
is the first time
that.
people will be like, "Oh my gosh, there's a third camera." Yeah.
That means you're going to have to make sure your wife gets your hair cut for you.
I wanted to talk about that because sooner rather than later, I'm gonna have to start just baking my head.
Are you getting there?
No, I don't care. Listen. I know I have a landing strip on the top of my head, but I own it.
I'm pretty sure they call that a reverse landing strip.
No, it's a reverse mohawk.
It's a reverse mohawk.
Listen, it's cool. What I would tell everyone, there's only one person that loves me more than my mother on the planet Earth. Do you know who that is, Dustin?
I'm going to guess you.
You're damn right. So, I don't care how my hair looks as long as we're delivering great content to the people.
Awesome. But I do appreciate you getting us a third camera now that we hit 10K subs on YouTube.
We have the best fans on the planet.
Yes. You know what we also have? Full disclosure. Like, we have people that go to theloneofficerpodcast.com, affectionately TLOPonline.com, where there's tons of content, loaded and loaded and loaded with additional content, not just YouTube stuff. Like, this is like the anti-YouTube.
Yeah.
This is like we have more content than what we host on YouTube, right? And some people are free members, which most are free members. We like putting out free stuff.
Yeah.
But there's other people who say, hey, we love what you're doing. We want the best stuff.
The bee's knees.
Because John does happen to keep some of the best stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And only give access to premium members. But premium membership costs a small monthly donation of $25 a month.
It's $2.
Just $2, maybe 3, depending on what state you live in.
Right.
And nonetheless, we use that money for things like a third camera.
Yeah, literally, your tax dollars are put to use. Right?
We use that money
Yeah.
to pay for flights and hotels to go to events like Mortgage Mastermind.
Yeah.
Where we will be September 20th and 21st. Go to the website.
Yep.
TLOPonline.com if you want more information about that event. It's one website, but we hyperlink to their site.
Yep.
You can see the agenda. You can see the time that we're speaking. You can see a brief synopsis on what we're going to be speaking about.
Yep.
And I will let you know that lunch will be provided and our friends over at Jungo.
Word.
Do you know what Jungo is? A CRM for those that don't know, and it happens to be the CRM that I use, that all 70 plus loan officers who work underneath my Southeast region use to manage and monitor and market to their database.
Word.
And they're going to provide lunch. So shout out to Jungo, shout out to that event, shout out to John Coleman and his
Reverse mohawk.
wearing the T-LOP polo. We should get more of those, by the way.
We're gonna have to now.
My son has stolen my T-LOP polo.
No, he didn't.
And he has stolen my camo T-LOP hat.
Well, you need that because we're going to be on stage and we have to be matching like twins.
I don't know if it'd be matching like twins. If we do, what I would suggest is you have a camo shirt and a white T-LOP hat.
Okay.
I'll wear the white shirt and the
okay.
camo
We can make
T-LOP
that
hat.
happen.
We could do that.
Yeah, we can make that happen.
Yes, but it's funny. My 17-year-old, who, by the way, he is going to be the muse for today's episode.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be raising a soon-to-be senior. They call those rising seniors in high school, who is contemplating next career move, college. After college, what's the next career move? So maybe we can talk about some things that they don't teach in school.
Oh.
And maybe these are topics of conversation that I'm having with him.
Right.
Also, remind me to give you a shout out from Brett Young, who
Okay.
was on the show about a week or two ago.
Shout out, Brett.
Because he sent me a really cool text over the weekend.
Okay.
That was like, oh my God. And that got me talking to my son this weekend.
Okay.
About what we're going to talk about today.
Perfect.
Yep. But no, he has stolen my T-LOP polo because when you're 17, you don't wear polos. So to him, he calls that a golf shirt.
Oh, okay. I could see that.
Yeah, so he picked up golf recently.
Okay.
And he goes to the driving range with his buddies, and I think he's gone and played 9 holes once.
Okay.
But he goes to the driving range like 2 or 3 times a week.
Free
We
promo.
we bought him clubs.
Clubs? Yeah. Whoa.
Clubs back for his last birthday. But it's funny, I was cleaning out my closet, and I'm like, hey, any of your friends want, and I thought it was like the sports team he would want.
Right.
He's like, well, so-and-so would want that. I go, would it even fit so-and-so? He's like, well, that's a golf shirt, Dad. I'm like, well, no, it's actually a polo. It's a collared shirt, short sleeves that has like a certain football team branded on it.
Right.
And I'm not going to wear it. So I just thought maybe they did. No, to him.
It's golf. I don't
Yeah,
want that.
yeah.
It's a golf shirt.
No, it's a golf shirt.
Yeah, right.
Yep. So he would only wear one of those, and his friends would only wear one of those.
Well, this is
but
good.
You are rocking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
nice
want him to
T-LOP
wear it
polo.
because now he should wear it to school. It should be his uniform when he goes to class now. Senior year mandate.
He does a good job of pimping out T-LOP.
He could do better. No, I'm just playing. Shout out Jackson.
Hey, shout out to Jackson and all his friends.
Yeah, shout out to
right?
Jackson.
All the 17 and 18-year-olds that are tuned into
Hey,
T-LOP.
you know what? Because one day they're going to be homeowners too. We just got to start grooming them young.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I want this show to be shaping the future, period.
Yeah.
Like, we do a great job, I think. Great's a strong word, of shaping the future of the mortgage industry. But this show is everything you should have learned in high school. We don't just talk about mortgages or what it's like to be a loan officer or selling real estate or buying real estate. Now, we do try to make episodes for people who either own homes, want to own a home, they sell homes for a living, or they finance homes for a living, because that probably encompasses 80 to 90% of the adult American populace.
Facts.
Children 18 plus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for that is the overall theme of our show. It's everything you should have learned in high school but didn't because it wasn't taught.
Yep.
So let's do it today. Top 5.
Top five. What's one bonus?
Top 5 with a bonus.
Yeah.
We are going to throw in a bonus. We're going to throw in a bonus because no one ever says top 6.
You could though.
Just be that weird.
Yeah, it doesn't matter because top 6. I was gonna say name
Hey,
a top 6.
We're going to keep it Austin and just be weird.
Yeah, why not? Rules are meant to be broken or something.
Adjusted?
Yeah, adjusted, not broken. But
No, you don't break rules. You just adjust them to
'cause-
fit your narrative.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly. They didn't. I learned that in school.
Hey, you call it top 5. You call it top 6. I like top 5 with a bonus.
And there it is. Top 5 with a bonus in
Yeah.
parentheses at the end.
Top 5 with a bonus.
All right. In any particular order, are you gonna
Your
drop?
particular order. You throw them out there and.
Well, I can't read your notes upside down, Justin. I mean, Dustin.
Wow, John! 2.5 years
I
later.
cannot read
You know,
your notes.
my wife's grandmother, bless her heart. Shout out to Bernie who passed away. Probably 20 years ago now.
Oh, okay.
A little over 20 years ago.
I thought you were gonna say
but-
that yesterday, but
No,
okay.
but she used to like to call me Justin.
Justin.
Yeah, I'm like.
That's
"Oh,
the first time. It's
Dustin."
just a slip up.
Yeah.
So, in no particular order, I'm just gonna go with the first one that we have on the list. All right.
Okay.
Pay yourself.
Pay yourself first.
Yeah.
This is something in life. You can start this at 16 or 17 years of age. At 16 or 17, you should be saving your money. Period. End of story. At 21, 31, 41, 51, even 61, you should probably be saving money. Right? Whether you're saving money because you need to have your 3 to 6 month reserve fund, whether you're saving money because you need to have a retirement fund, maybe because you're saving money because you want a new couch, you want to go on that Alaskan cruise, or maybe you're saving money for your kids' education. The easiest and the best way to save money is to take the money out of your paycheck first before you see it and anyone else sees it. And technology is great about this. We all have direct deposit, except for our bartenders who probably have direct deposit actually on their for their hourly and anymore because so many people pay with credit card. I'm pretty sure most of their tips are being reported, being claimed, and that they're actually hitting their W-2 and hitting their paycheck. So maybe I'm dating myself when I say except for our bartenders. But nonetheless, like with direct deposit set up, you can have your direct deposit set up to go into multiple accounts. It doesn't all have to go into your checking account, John. You could have it set up to where 10% of your pay off the top goes into a separate account. That is paying yourself first. If you're older and more established in life, I'm about older, I mean, you're like, 20, 22, 24, and you work for a company that offers a 401k, when you sign up for a 401k, that is the easiest way to pay yourself first. That means before any money hits your checking account, it is going into your 401k. You're paying yourself first. So that is a very simple tactic and tool that someone could utilize to become fiscally responsible, maybe even fiscally savvy. They don't really teach this in school.
Why don't they teach? It's such a basic thing, and
In the state of Florida, they're going to try to do it.
Okay.
Like that is something coming out of Tallahassee, which is the state capital in the state of Florida. So they are going to try to put some kind of financial literacy into the schools, and I believe into high school specifically. I would love to be a part of that. Just put it out there, like you told me to do.
Yeah.
Anyone tuned in? Anyone have connections? Governor DeSantis, if you want to come on the show and talk about it, we'd be more than happy to have you on the show. But I don't know why. And I think it's one of those things that you can't just learn it once. I think it has to be ingrained in you. It has to be a part of your culture, a part of your habits. So I think the problem is it's not just you get to take it once, but no, you have to be able to take it every day or every week or every semester or every half year or every year. There has to be, you have to become a student to it. Like think about American government. Did you take American government your senior year in high school?
No.
You didn't?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what the hell I took. All electives, gym, art. That's what I took my senior year.
Well, I remember having to take American government, but I've learned way more about American government outside of high school and college than I ever did inside. And a lot of it just because I can't retain all that unless I'm practicing it daily, and unless I'm ingrained in it. I forget. Like I forget there's 435 representatives in Congress.
You knew more than this dude,
Right? There's 100 senators. I mean, like, okay, cool. If the president dies and the vice president dies, who's next in command? Do you remember that?
I got that question wrong.
I believe. I mean, this is terrible.
Right.
I don't know this, but I believe it's the
Secretary of something.
Yeah, of the Senate, I believe.
Proved.
Yeah, I don't know. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look, someone's going to like, Dio and JC, you're
don't know.
idiots.
Yeah.
Okay, guess what? You didn't know there's 435 representatives in Congress.
There you go, Dio.
Okay, but my point being is that we don't
You
study
use it every day. You don't use it every day.
and we don't use it. We don't practice it.
Right.
But at the very beginning of any habit formation, you have to start.
Right.
You start by making it easy. How do you make saving easy? You pay yourself first. You set it up to where you set it and forget it, and the money comes off the top.
Well said.
So that would be, in no particular order, one of the top 5 things that they don't teach in school that they should, as it pertains to becoming a responsible, fiscally savvy adult.
Nice. Next. Understand ROI.
Ooh, I love this one. Understanding return on investment. Okay, ROI calculations need to be run at the most like JV level as well as to the most high master's level of anything. So understanding ROI to my 17-year-old who didn't want to wash his own car. I said, okay, you're going to take this to Mr. Bill's car wash. And what does Mr. Bill's charge you? They charge him $24. I said, do you tip the person? He said, oh, yeah, I tip it. My friends work there. I tipped really good. I tipped $6, Dad.
The hell?
I go, so you're spending $30 to wash your car. How long would it take you to wash your car if you did it yourself? An hour. Okay. We debated about it. We agreed on that.
Sounds like, sounds okay.
Yeah.
An
Okay. It's going to take you an hour. Cool. He works at Chick-fil-A. How many hours do you have to go work at Chick-fil-A to pay someone else to wash your car? And he gave me the answer. It was like 2.5. Okay. So you could have washed the car yourself in an hour. Instead, you'd rather go to Chick-fil-A, work 2.5 hours so that you can pay someone to wash your car. Hey, bud, that's bad ROI. Because then our follow-up question to him, and I'm starting at the JV level, would have been, but are you maxed out on your time? Because sometimes you have to pay someone else to do something that they can do because your time has value. No, it's summer months.
Yeah.
What is he doing? Volleyball's over with. He's not taking any summer classes. So he's working 20, 24 hours a week. The rest of the time he's either spent playing video games, going to the driving range, or sleeping 12-hour days.
Like a sloth.
So basically, that was a terrible decision. I actually stole that. The girl's name is Erin Janovitz. So shout out to Erin. She's Erin Goldman now. She lives up in Atlanta, Georgia with her husband and 2 or 3 sons. I can't remember if she's 2 or 3. But I remember when we were in high school, she was the first person that I heard doing these calculations in her brain. She worked at the Gap, by the way. I don't know if the Gap even exists
Yeah,
anymore.
Gap's still around.
I think Old Navy's gone.
No, Old Navy's still there.
Banana Republic?
Still there, bro.
You know they're all the same. They're all the same company.
Same parent company.
Yep. Okay. So she worked at the Gap, and back then I bet we made like $5 an hour. You know, $6 an hour, and that's how she made decisions. Ooh, is that pair of shoes worth me spending $40 on? And she would run math and say, well, that's 8 hours. That's a whole day at work
For them shoes.
for those shoes. It didn't matter if the answer was yes or no. What mattered is the thought process was there. So she had to run an ROI. So that is something that I think we all should do. And it's okay for your answer to change. There's been times in my life where it didn't make sense for me to pay somebody to do my own lawn. It made more sense for me to take those 2 hours on a Saturday and go work open houses, or go work in that builder's new home center on a Saturday, so I could hopefully find one extra loan a month, because my commission on that one extra loan would have been back then $1,200 or $1,500. So me paying someone $500 a month to do my yard for me, the ROI made sense for me to free up my Saturdays so that I could put on a polo and some khakis and go work in a sales office for 4 hours.
Yeah.
That made more sense. There's also been times in my life where I was like, you're not working this weekend. You need the exercise. You could use the fresh air and the sunlight.
Right.
And you could probably use a stress reliever.
Go out there and cut that grass, man.
Go out and cut the grass, right? So like I use that because they're very trivial, very minimal. But you start with basic decisions and you can grow it to a master's level decision. Just recently, I was coaching a particular branch manager. And this particular branch manager was telling a story to me that I ended up high-fiving this dude. I'm like, dude, you got this. You know what you're doing. He said he fired a realtor, broke up with, divorced, whatever you want to call it. Amicable. It was amicable. Who he closed every year 20 to 24 transactions a year.
What are you doing? That's
Yeah.
that's what we almost call a whale.
That it is a whale. That is a channel account right there.
Right.
And he said, dude, the ROI wasn't there. I'm like, the ROI?
What you mean? That's a lot.
I'm like, walk me through this. Like, well, one, this dude had me co-sponsoring his Zillow with him. I'm like, how much was it? Well, I was spending $3,000 a month. I said, okay, well, $3,000 a month times 12 months is $36,000.
Right.
I said, and how many transactions did you close? He said, depending on the year, 18 to 24. I said, cool, let's just call it 20 because math is easier.
Yeah.
I said, what's your average commission? He goes, well, my average commission right now, based on loan sizes being where they are, is roughly $3,000. I said, okay, so you made 60 and you spent 36. I go, you still made a net $24,000. You would think that'd be pretty decent ROI. And he said, no. And I was like, no, well, why not? There's one last question, the question behind the question. He said, do you know how many leads I had to service?
700,000 leads.
How many leads did I have to service?
Right.
He said, because you're right. Anytime I could spend, he goes, and ideally, if I spent 36, I'd be looking to make like a minimum 1-for-1 on my dollar. Like, so I would have made 72.
Right.
But preferably, I'm looking for a 2-for-1 on my dollar, honestly. Like, you know, if I'm spending 36, then what I'm trying to pull out of that is like 108. But he goes, it came down to the time. I looked at the amount of time that my team and I put into fielding all of the leads and scrubbing them and working them and going through the pre-approvals. He's like, we were actually only closing 10% of his leads. And he goes, and I understand my lead conversion ratio as I am a 20 to 25% lead converter. He said, it wasn't worth my time. I'm like, wow, that was magical. Like, that was some great ROI. So how many times in our life are we not running ROI, whether it's on a business or it could be on a decision. It could be on a decision that you have to make. Like, certain decisions are worth 3 to 5 minutes of well thought out thinking. Not 3 to 5 days, not 3 to 5 hours, 3 to 5 minutes. You're a smart, experienced person. Take a deep breath, take a step back, clear your table, and just dedicate 3 to 5 minutes. Work your pros and your cons. What's the worst thing that could happen? What's the best thing that could happen? Make your decision and move on. Because even our decisions have an ROI. And too many times we are unproductive in our day because we're dedicating too much time for the decision that doesn't merit that much time.
Paralysis by analysis is what you call it.
I call it paralysis by analysis. So yes, if there's something I wish was taught, like there's a whole entire chapter with lessons, and the lessons should be stories, because to me, we remember stories. So, and then within those stories, we're taught how to run ROI. And here's the best part about it. It's not, as we have learned, at least I have learned as a parent, it wasn't necessarily learning math. It was learning critical thinking skills, right? It wasn't necessarily learning who George Washington was, but it may have been learning some of the lessons that Washington's life could teach us.
Right.
Okay. Well, same thing goes for this concept of running ROI. I just want to introduce people to the concept. You all are going to need to practice it. You're going to need to make a habit out of it. What I'm going to request is that you start running ROI calculations on everything from the amount of time you put into a decision. It could be how much money that you're willing to invest into a particular opportunity. Like these are various ROI, or it could just be, do I pay for someone to do this or do I not? Right? There's been many times I don't hang ceiling fans. I don't paint my house. It's not that I don't know how to.
Yeah.
And painting, I actually enjoy therapeutic.
Yeah.
But what I've realized is that the amount of time that I would spend doing those things, by the way, hanging ceiling fans, I hate. So that in itself, the mental aspect.
Mine's still broken from 2 years ago.
Is worth me paying someone else to do. But what I realized is that I could go work an extra hour or two in what I do well and afford to pay someone to do what they do well. And normally, I'm also left with a little bit extra.
Right.
That little bit extra is extra money I can save or I can go spend.
Right.
All right, what do you have next on the list, John?
The power of reading.
Okay. The power of reading.
Right.
I did not learn this until later in life. The best news is, based on my experiences, there's never a bad time to start a new good habit.
Right.
And I started this new good habit the first time that I did 75 hard. So that would have been September of 2019 is when I started it. And I started it with reading just 10 pages a night. 10 pages a night of something that was nonfiction. And it has opened my eyes to experiences and thoughts that I otherwise would have never had, or more importantly, something I read forced my brain to think a certain way that now opened me up to thought patterns that I otherwise wouldn't have had. There's this quote that I found probably a year or two ago. I posted it on my personal Facebook page, and it still pops up from time to time in my memories. That's like the one thing I love about Facebook are the memories. And the quote is like, well, it was so good I decided to post it. And I'm not a big poster. Like I am on Facebook as an individual. It's a terrible way for people to connect with me, by the way. LinkedIn is amazing. Facebook, I have limited friends, and like we need to have known each other for years and have some kind of a personal connection for me to invite you into that world. That is more of a favor to my wife and my children than it is to anybody else. But if you want to connect with me and we haven't met, then LinkedIn is a good way. Instagram's another good way. Except for on Instagram, I think the handle is at the Loan Officer Podcast.
There you go.
On LinkedIn, it's just straight up Dustin Owen. All right. But the quote, it goes like this. You could try to pound your head against the wall and think of original ideas, or you can cheat by reading them in books. Like, I think about what you and I do on this show for going on 2.5 years now, 240 plus episodes.
Damn, it's a long time.
Very rarely, if ever, are we putting out original thought. No, most of it has already been said, already been practiced, already been done. We're not researchers. We're not running some kind of a research lab where we have a constant and a variable and control groups. No, these are things that have been taught for decades, if not centuries, right? So I share that because think of everything else out there that you're not experiencing, that you haven't opened your brain to or your mind to because you're not picking up a book and reading it. One of my favorite movies is Good Will Hunting. And there's a part in that movie where Matt Damon basically goes off on this graduate student who is at Harvard, who they're both trying to impress the same girl. The girl's Minnie Driver. And he basically, after he puts the dude in his place intellectually, he also offers the guy the opportunity to get put in his place physically. which there's a place and a time for that in everyone's life. And at my time when that movie came out, that was a good answer too.
Right.
And but he basically tells him that he wasted all of that money on his Harvard education when he could have gotten it in like $1.22 in late fees at the public library.
Right.
Right. And by sharing that with you, just letting into a little personal part of my life, but it's just a good representation that books have the answers. Books can lead us to the thoughts. Those thoughts will expand our creativity. Our creativity may be what we need in order to turn the corner in life, whether turn the corner to break a particular bad habit or to start a new good habit. I mean, I remember reading the book Hamilton, which is still today for a non-reader just 2.5 years ago or 3 years ago now. As a non-reader, you look at the thickness of that book.
That's a trophy.
It's a damn trophy, yes. But when I read it, yes, I learned a lot about Alexander Hamilton.
Right.
But I was able to read it and paraphrase this way. If y'all think our world is fucked up, you're wrong. Because it's been this way since the beginning.
Big facts.
And I don't say that in a negative way. I say that in a celebratory way. Hey, guys and girls, we live in a great country. It's a great time to be an American. As great of a time as ever. It wasn't greater in the late 1700s and 1800s, right? I know this by reading biographies based on our founding fathers. Books led me to that. I felt like I understood American politics and American government just by reading one book. And one book will lead me to 2 more books. And then 2 more books are going to lead me to go into a museum. And the museum's going to lead me to watching a movie. Right? So books, read, pick them up.
To that point, I never appreciated when I went to museums or like places in nature when they have the plaques and they have like the descriptions. I never read those because I never cared. But now I read them like religiously. Does that make sense?
Yeah, full disclosure, you just learned to read a couple years ago, so you didn't read them in the beginning because you couldn't read.
Right. I read the job application for this.
You did?
I did.
You read it by yourself or your mom helped you?
I don't know. I applied to so many, it was just blind apply. No, I'm just kidding. Number 4, focus on earning
not savings.
Over saving.
Yeah. We should tie this one with the first one we went to.
In no particular order.
In no particular order. Yeah, so here's one that I picked up along the way. And I want to credit my wife for this because there's a time in my life where if I look back, I'm like, man, when was I the biggest douchebag, right? And it's probably somewhere between my 30s and my teens, right? There's probably like a 2 or 3 year stint when I look back at 43 going on 44 that I'm like, oh my God. The 14, 15, 16-year-old version of me?
Oh, yeah.
Or the 34, 35, or 36-year-old me? And because by 35, 36, I was pretty confidently set with where I was career-wise. And I was making really good money, and I had been making really good money for at least 3, 5, or 7 years. It had become habitual, and I didn't wear it well, okay? And then 14, 15, 16, I was just an out-of-control prick of a adolescent male.
Most males are, though.
Yeah. But she said to me, it's not fair that you want to judge someone who's unable to pay or to save 10 or 20% of their pay when they chose a profession that they love, such as social work, such as teacher, such as police officer. Such as nurse, right? Like we can go on and on. These are professions where you have highly educated, formally educated people, whose income is for the most part capped.
Yeah.
I said, fair enough. So let's change the narrative. Let's continue to focus on saving, right? Because we all have choices that we make and we live with those choices. Right. So if someone chose a profession because they had a calling, then and that calling comes with limited income potential, then that's a bed that you lay in.
Right.
But you can still save, right? You can still pay yourself first. And if that's all you can do, high five. You also chose a profession that comes with a pension.
Right.
So you should be less worried about saving for retirement because you're foregoing the income today for the for the income down the road, right? That's especially for my cops, my firefighters, and my teachers, and my school bus drivers. But what you can do is focus on earning, right? It's hard to save. It's really easy to save when you're making more money than you need.
Yeah.
It's also really easy to save when you're always working.
Yeah, right.
So I would like for people to consider and run the math on this. What if you focus twice as hard on earning as you did on saving? I'm not saying don't save. What I'm saying is focus on earnings. What are you doing today to better yourself? Running ROI. I'm a school teacher. I'm going to go get my master's. It's going to do what for me? Oh, what do you mean?
Burn a hole in my pocket.
Well, yeah, why are you getting your master's? Like, are you independently wealthy and you love higher education? High five.
No, I think if I get my master's, I'll be open to make more money in the future.
Cool. Okay, what's your master's going to cost you? If it's free, high five, go do it.
Yeah.
If it's $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, $50,000, $100,000, we need to run an ROI calculation. By having your master's, how much money are you going to make extra per year? $3,000. Okay, a $30,000 master's that pays you an extra $3,000 a year has a 10-year break even. That's not good ROI. I don't know if I would make that decision. But these are, excuse me, these are different thought processes that people should be having. And focusing on earning should be one of them. Maybe you shouldn't get your master's. Maybe what you should do is tutor kids twice a week after school and every other Sunday for 4 hours. Because if you did 2 hours on Tuesday and 2 hours on Thursday, at $80 an hour, you made $320. And then if you did it every other Sunday for just another 2 hours, you made another $160. So you can make 320, that's 640, that's 1280, 1280 plus another 320, you can make an extra $1,800 a month, roughly $18,000 a year by focusing on earning. And when you're tutoring, you typically just need to show up.
All right.
You need to bring your brain and bring your experiences. That's a pretty low, not everyone can do it because not everyone is a teacher. Not everyone spends 36 to 46 hours a week in the classroom, but you do. So maybe it wasn't your master's that would pay you $3,000 a year. Maybe you were starting a tutoring business on the side, one in which you are your own boss, right? And I'm using that for school teachers. Imagine any other industry. If you're a loan officer, you know what you need to do besides like, oh my gosh, I need to save more? No, go do one extra loan. Do one extra loan a month. Your average commission is probably $3,000. That's $36,000 a year. Focus on doing what it needs to do one extra loan. It makes saving so much easier. So my rule of thumb would be focus twice as much on earning than you do on saving. You still need to save. You still need to pay yourself first. All right, next one.
Networking.
Networking. So you've heard me say this over and over again on every social platform we're on, as well as the podcast. But your net worth is the sum of your network.
Yep.
I mean, he or she who knows the most people has the highest percentage of success. It is a numbers game. You need to get out there and make friends. Birds of a feather flock together. How about that? Look at your friend group. I'm not saying diss your friends, but I am saying you may need some new friends.
Right.
You may need more friends, right? If you want to achieve a certain level of success, you need to go run in a circle where people are that successful. If you want to have certain clout in a certain industry, find out where the industry trade groups are and join them. And don't just join them, then participate. By participate, what do I mean? Go to their monthly luncheons. Maybe even try to get on one of their committees or sit on their board. Right? But you have to make a conscious effort, a habitual effort into networking. Go to where the people that you want to be are, or you want to be more like are, and befriend them and ask them questions. But networking is huge. And be there not just self-serving. Be there to help. Be there to get to know them. Like a real relationship where you look to bring value. And bringing value can either be your time, it can be your money, or it can be both. But it doesn't have to be both. Right? So if you don't have money, cool, bring time. If you don't have time, cool, bring money. I will tell you, though, don't just lead with money. Find a way to make time. even if it's a 90-10 split, it's 90% your money and 10% your time. Don't just throw money at it.
I'm asking you a question. At what point would you say in your life that you started to value, if you do, value time over money?
Ooh. I don't know if I have a defining moment. I don't know if I have a defining moment.
But
there's been points where I put, and I'm a selfish person, John. Like, I'm the first to admit it.
Hella selfish.
I'm very selfish. I remember getting to a point and putting it out in the universe, like you taught me to do, that I'm only going to do things that I like to do with people I like to do them with. Now, luckily, I like business. I like sales. I like marketing. I like coaching. Right? So, like, I have found a way to hone in on the things that I like to do and that I'm good at and I want to become great at, and I can only become great if I do it more. Or maybe I like to do it I'm not good at, but I like doing it so much I'm willing to put in the work to get good. And that probably started once I started getting comfortable financially, right? Because I'm such a money-motivated person, I had to get to a point in my life where I felt like, you know what? Man, if the wheels came off right now and the shit started hitting the fan, you're still in a good place, right? So that happened for me in my late 30s, early 40s, where I was able to say, well, you know what? The worst thing that would happen right now would be you'd have to work till you're 68. You wouldn't be able to retire at 55. My goal is to be at a point at 55 years of age that I only work because I really, really love it. Or I really need the damn benefits.
Right.
Come on, universal health care.
Right.
Y'all got 13 years to get your shit together. Actually, no, you only have 11 and a half.
Right.
Clock's ticking, bitches. All right. Was that 5?
Yeah, that was 5. We have
What's
one.
the bonus?
Become boring and predictable.
Yes, that's hard for me to say. Actually, it's very easy for me to say. If you tune in long enough, I've been saying it a lot.
Right.
Especially a lot lately because I'm reading Atomic Habits all over again for the second time. Shout out James Clear. Hey, James, when are you going to come be on T-LOP, homie?
And whenever you're ready, James, we have a warm seat waiting for you.
Hey, just go ahead and hit me up on LinkedIn, James. I am Dustin. And have your people call my people. By my people, I mean me.
You laugh, but that's how the universe works, Dustin.
Okay. Or you can hit up my man, JC.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. All right. One day, I'm putting it out there too. One day, the Loan Officer Podcast, not only will they have a badass website. Oh, wait, we do.
Okay.
It's TLOPonline.com.
Right.
Check it out if you haven't done so already. Not only will we be on every social media handle.
Not named Pinterest.
We are, except for Pinterest.
Right.
Check us out at the Loan Officer Podcast.
Yeah.
But we will have a research assistant, a marketing assistant, and I really want a badass business, like operations manager. Like this is someone who could be like your handler. This is someone who could like book us gigs. This is also someone that could work with like sponsors and sponsorships, and like it would be really good to have that.
Amazing.
Right now it's just the John and Dio show.
Yes, right now, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So be predictable and boring. This is the bonus part. I don't want you to be predictable and boring necessarily, like in who you are and how you dress. Like peacock it. Be yourself, but be boring and predictable in terms of your behavior, right? Like you want to become a successful person, whether it's in business or outside of business, whether you run your household or whether you run things at the office. You need to be in a routine, and things happen more effectively and efficiently when they're predictable.
Ooh.
So when I say become boring, you can still be the life of the party. You can still tear it up at the karaoke bar, right? You can still be the best at beer pong. You can still wear the loud jackets or the Payne Stewart pants when you're golfing. Like let your inner freak out and be you, but at the same time, do that while also being very predictable. Predictability is stability, right? So you're asking someone to be stable. So to me, that means I get up at a certain time. I do a certain routine in the morning. I go to the office at a certain time. When I'm in the office, I follow that same routine. I kind of plan my trips the same way. I go on my trips the same way. I parent a certain way. I do date night a certain way. Like you want to be spontaneous.
Right.
You want that spontaneity is what I was thinking about. So I would say leave room for spontaneity. Leave room for things to go sideways. Be okay when things go sideways, because there's something also coming with routine that's called rigidness, and you don't want to be too rigid. You still want to be flexible. But the point is, become boring and predictable, especially in business, especially when it comes to your personal finance, right? That's where you don't want things getting off the rails, right? Whether it's your spending habits, your saving habits, your earnings habits, or the way that you conduct yourself in the office.
Right.
Because once you become predictable, you can see a pattern. Patterns will show us efficiencies. Patterns will also show us deficiencies. So with that pattern, you can find a deficiency, and then you could attack it and work on it. You could find an efficiency, you could teach it and accentuate it. But you can't do any of that without being able to study patterns. Patterns only come with predictable behavior.
There you go.
Those are the 5, maybe 6 things I wish they taught in school, but they don't, that I think if more people focused on, they would become more successful at life, whether that's in the house or outside of the house,
Right.
whether that's in a relationship or out of a relationship. These are 5 or 6 things that we all can take from today's episode, teach to others, practice ourselves, and work on becoming 1% better per day.
Great job.
He's John
Hold
Coleman.
on.
You're not
You
going up the
told
hook?
no, because you told me to remind you about the Brett Young thing or something.
Oh my God. So funny story. So we're going to end this episode. Usually we waste everyone's time the first 5 to 7
now
minutes.
we're gonna waste it. Maybe
Yeah.
we should do that. Waste everyone's time at the end.
At the back end. Hey, now that you got that new camera, we can do it.
Wow, that just came out. Okay.
All right. So shout out to Brett Young. Brett was on the show, and Brett is one of my favorite
Brett's awesome.
people out there. He's an awesome guest. He's a hell of a great business owner, operator, businessman, marketeer, leader, leader. But he texted me a picture of his son at the dining room table with baseball cards.
Oh.
And do you remember why?
Yes.
Yes, because the advice I gave Brett when he was on the show, for anyone who hasn't tuned into his episode, great episode, by the way.
Fire.
It's a lot. It's more than just about becoming a homeowner's insurance agent. That was the underlying theme of that particular episode. But anyhow, he was like, yeah, Dio, I'm trying to get my son into investing in stocks, and I'm gonna get him this account, and I bought him a book, and he's just not that interested. And I thought maybe his son was like 14, 18, 22.
Nah.
He's like 8.
Yeah,
I was like,
bro.
you know what? I said, Brett, start with baseball cards or Pokemon cards, as my son
All right.
alluded to earlier when I was talking to him about, he was with me when I got the text from Brett.
Right.
And I have a totally funny story about my son texting Brett, thinking he was texting Brian Young.
Oh, right. In his brain.
He texted Brett Young.
Hey, Brian, I love the.
Yeah, but that's all for a whole nother show. But yeah, so parents who are tuned in this far, if you're trying to teach financial principles and investment strategies and business tactics to your children, I started picking up at a young age in 1987, buying Topps baseball cards. That's when I started seeing how I could purchase something that had a value. That value could go up and down. I could trade in my more valuable for something else, right? That trade-in value would go up and down based on market conditions. I'd have to negotiate the trade-in value, right? Like baseball cards started teaching me the basics of running a business and negotiation skills and things going up in value and down in value when I was 8, 9 years old. So that was what I shared with Brett, and Brett was like, sent me a text. He actually followed through, and as it turns out, his son's very interested in this.
Really?
The price of Google or Amazon stock, not so much.
Right.
But the value of that Mike Trout card that he just got,
Wow, there you go.
yeah. So, all right.
All right,
now
now
can
you're
I
ready. Go
conclude?
ahead. No.
All right. He's John Coleman. I'm Dustin Owen. You've just tuned into the Loan Officer Podcast. Please do us a favor. If you're tuning in for the first time, share the hell out of this if you like it. If you don't like it, do us another favor. Quit tuning in. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a 5-star review. Understand that we're also on YouTube as well as Spotify, Apple, and anywhere else that you can find us. And connect with us. We love to hear from you. Instagram and LinkedIn are 2 of the easiest social platforms to connect with us on. That is all the time we have for you today, but we will catch you in the next episode.